Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the, in the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Firli, may God forgive us for the mistakes we know and we don't know. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. May the highest power guide us to the straight path. So, hello everyone. I'm here to not educate you, but I'm just here to share like something I'm seeing. I pretty much find it interesting that just like how we all are like this, I have eyes that nobody else has. Similarly, people have eyes that I don't have. And it makes sense that human beings begin putting out there online their sort of observations on reality. So as a human being, as a member of the human species, I am kind of like reporting back to my species here. And to just the world at large. And of course in the presence of the system admin. By the way, my voice is a little off the weather today. I mean, the imagery of that doesn't really make sense. My voice is, I mean, if I say my voice is under the weather, I mean, technically all human voices are under the weather. I mean, the weather's up there. It's not like the weather's up there. I'm saying matter of speech. Anyways, let's see where we can take this. First thing, guys, I do when I give a lecture is I try to play some music that calms my soul, you know. Okay. So you are listening to one man's Awe of the Future. Is that the title? The Awe of One Man for the Future. There we go. So I have to explain to you what am I seeing about the future that is so amazing, so awesome, that I'm in awe of. Like I can't even, I'm like shocked in my place. So that's what I need to do. And it's not like I could just put fascination on the table. I have to explain to you what situation we are in reality, and based on what can happen, we can get fascinated by that. Okay? You see, life is to some degree, like this is hilarious, but like the greatest degree that one can get in life is a degree of understanding and human behavior and studying humans. Okay? So I'm beginning this by saying, all right, let's look at how human beings have looked at humans so far. If we go and do that, I'll fast forward it for you. Okay? Human history up to this point. All humans have been fascinated by this thing we call the future. Everyone is. You cannot lie. We are all living, deciding, using our energy throughout the day. When I look at human beings, guys, like in a coffee shop, this is not the true humanity. This is a sort of drugged out, low energy humanity. Every human being we see, it's like they have an advanced activation right now. They're just not activated. We're living in a deactivated era of human potential. It's ridiculous. And it's so boring. Like Civilization 1.0 is boring. That means if all the world leaders were in a room, they'd be like, is this guy telling us what we've done, everything human beings have done so far is boring? It's boring in the sense of questioning to see what is the greatest context of scale. So, what is the biggest context, the most important way we can value human function? You see, the future is fascinating because it's where all the probabilities the present can generate of it is. Like, or let me say it this way. Right now, I know what I did yesterday, okay? Or I know what I said before, and I'm being here right now, being able to say anything. And then there's the future, because the way the narrative is that we're a character in a changing story. The world is moving, going forth. That means, believe it or not, if you do nothing, that has a consequence similar to if you do anything, right? So we are in a world that is going forward. We are an aging animal. We are we have a biological component to us, but we also have awareness to us. Okay, and our awareness tends to be by most ego code on the planet to be held in sacredness. You see, the concept of the sacred, the notion that there is a higher and lower to the world is the implication, right? That there is a spectrum and it's changing from something to something, right? You see, there is something that I feel. I'm not someone who, if somebody says, yo, man, do you have a specific agenda? I'll be like, no, it's a feeling. I feel like something should be happening that isn't, and it's making me want to speak about it. That's the main reason. This main feeling that, wait a minute, our minds show us such an advanced humanity, but in the external realms we're limited to the language, how language simulates, or how we're bound by our cultural programs. Like, to me, to be a human being, is it theatrics? Is it a sort of dress up game of culture, language, name, and images for a past? Is that enough for you? I'm trying to tell you, like, yo, man, we're not at that time anymore where a general comes and speaks, and raises his sword, and the army's like, yeah, they all raise their sword. We're not at that time. We are at that intensity, but at a different time. It's as if we're living at a point where it's not human violence, even though effed up shit is happening all over the planet. Excuse my language, rapid fairly. But what I'm saying is that when we look at the human being, and we wonder about it, like what it's doing, are you telling me right now that you in this life you're living have not seen a futuristic version of yourself? That means how big of a lie would it be? There's physical desires and there's subjective desires. In this information age and technological age in 2025, people are not conscious that they are biting into informational desire. You can desire something, right? And the whole argument is that human beings are somewhere in between. They have a beastly nature and they have an angelic nature. I don't care if you're like the biggest thug or whatever, right? Human beings have both, right? And I'll explain. Imagine you're like this next level thug, everybody's scared of you, but then you see like a rabbit in your front yard and you pet it. Okay, what is that? That means it's like thug archetype went and the angelic nature came out. But the angelic nature has to do with one's relationship with the original power of their world. That's what religion is. But that's a different scenario. Right now, I'm kind of being like, okay, human beings, like there's a lot of things to be fascinated about in the future. I can just share probabilities and then salute to the world that I've served. That's it. Because there is a greater power here, like it makes me emotional to talk about it. Because that greater power was such a shock to everything I had claimed. You see, you can claim things physically. You could also claim subjective value. I see this, and to be honest, at first I thought I was shy, when I didn't want to talk to a lot of people. But then I realized, nah, man, it's just that it's simulations. I can't kind of like live in man-made simulations too long, because they're all personalized to ultimately an impulse. This is kind of hilarious, because what I'm saying is that every person I have met, they have a view on reality, they have a value system, they have a sort of shape and form, and how they engage and behave is of a simulated kind. And it's not their fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's the nature of language. We communicate through language. Human beings are kind of like, when they get to know each other, they're like, yo, these are the images I see. What images do you see? And we pass around these through words. Sorry for getting too excited about this, but I have this kind of like love and hate relationship with language, right? Anyways, the human being is in the game of simulation. What ultimately a human being is like a question mark plus. It's a question mark plus the known variables they're activating in the moment. You see, it's about position. Reality is about position. It's all about positioning. Everything is about positioning. So much of what life means is kind of like the position you're looking at it from. So anyways, the awe of one man for the future. And I will tell you it, hopefully, I don't know, I feel like I can share it in a certain way. The awe of one man for the future is like one human being who's opened his eyes to the world, has noticed stuff has happened, people are right now here, and they will walk into the future whether they like it or not. The future will meet us. And so whether we know it or not, every person, you have been living for the future. You have not, you've been living for your future self, for the future of others, for the future of your world, for the future outcomes of all energetic intelligent activity, which is in some sense the return to the system admin. It's like people think being religious is a joke. Excuse me, it is one of the most intense things that can happen for a human being. It is a human being preparing to go meet their creator. Do you know? They asked Muhammad Ali, the great boxer, that what are you going to do after you retire? And I don't remember his exact answer, but he said something in the lines of like, I have 21 years. I think that's what I remember. He said, I have 21 years to prepare to meet God. You see, a religious person is living in a way to, in some sense, meet the original power of a simulated testing zone where human beings are here for a little while and your actions matter to more than you will ever know. Sorry guys, I'll be back. All right, to continue. Sorry guys, I actually got interrupted by a phone call. But anyways, I don't know if it... Anyways. So back to it. Pretty much one human being fascinated about the future of everybody. You look at human beings, they have past analysis, present analysis, and then they have future analysis. To me, the future is what we're all working for, and it's important in what context we work for it, and their needs, because we're tribal beings. Like I'm trust me, I'm naturally like somebody who finds a strange comfort when I'm alone, right? A strange openness and activation of just my being, right? But I know that because the human organism, human species is tribal, it's the time for the emergence of the new tribes. The new tribes means that human beings are organizing in accordance to their common values. Do you know? And now we need to just shift the context. The biggest problem of humanity in 2025 is that the average person's story to the world has not opened to the futuristic context. Guys, somebody in the chat section says, I don't think religion is a joke. Just avoid joining groups and their individual doctrines. Okay. See, the way you're looking at it is very different to how I see it. It's not about the language. It's about what the language points to. Every person is living a system. I could say it's as if I could say everything that every human being says is simulated, and its value is incomplete. Do you understand? I could completely reject in my psychology anything human relevant. No, listen to me. I'm saying it's not about, okay, a person is feeling sovereign before selecting anything. We can agree to that. See, let me tell you what I'm saying. I'm saying, imagine there was no concepts from the past, okay? Imagine, just for a second, forget like what past people said. And you yourself are in a world looking at it and questioning its design, questioning its application, and without even having any sort of sense of, let's say, of the idea of God. You're just looking at this world, okay, and you come to the conclusion that, all right, this is a system. It's happening systematically. See, you have no idea of the past or anybody's individual view. You're just looking at this world and being like it's a system, and then asking yourself that what is governing intelligence, and it tends to be intelligence. So what I'm saying is, a human being administers the system of their individual life. Religion is for those people wondering what is administering the system where everybody is in. See, it's the question whether you believe in religion or not. I'm saying it's just something in the design of the system. It's source code. The notion that there is a system admin beyond the system, not limited to any definition or explanation in the system, is the main point of religion. To submit your ego code and access the source code that reveals the main operating system. But right now, the whole point of this episode is the future of the simulation. Strangely, we have the answer to where everything is going, and that is, it's returning to the system admin. So the far future, we know where it's going. It's returning to a system admin beyond anything simulated. It's like the simulation is of the original, and the simulation returns to the original, and the original never left. The original was the context to the simulated. Guys, I'm telling you, I have two missions. I see two missions here. One mission is discover true nature of your world. The next mission is do the most advanced thing. Anyways, there's more to say about this. I'm gonna go forward with the talk. Well, guys, thanks for your comments and always appreciate it. All right, so I'm seeing something in the relative, in the relative future, and pretty much I see that in 2025, the greatest idea human beings have on being human is that we've nationalized the earth. Okay, so we're on this like place on this rock, and we've in some sense, based on how our ancestors behaved and named this world, right, we're living in that category. You see what I'm saying? We're living like how our ancestors lived. Nobody can right now say they're not influenced by the values of those before them. Yeah. So I see two actions like chess moves that the human species not needs to do, and then I'll be relaxed. They'll be like, this guy is saving the world for his own mental state. Guys, this is what needs to happen. Every human being needs to acknowledge the system admin. It's a higher power, it's an intelligence, and then needs to live with the consciousness of the system admin in trying to bring forth the most advanced possibility of their life. And the cool thing is, you don't know, and you don't have to overthink it even. You could be an advanced being by just realizing you don't have all the answers. You just take a deep breath, realize you don't have all the answers, and just do one simple thing, one simple step. See, guys, talking about the future unites people. And the whole point is, what sort of human being will walk the next 100 years? Like, how will human beings make decisions? How will they identify? I understand we need our individualization to have personalities. We need nations. We need groups. We need differences. We like being different is a blessing than all of us being the same. I understand that, but now I need to somehow see, like, how is it gonna tap into the collective honor that we're the human race, we're the human species. Like, imagine, right? Imagine every human being in the future, they were like, yo, how did the standards of living of every person on earth suddenly advance unbelievably? And they'll say it's easy. Human beings woke up realizing that aside from all the categories and collective groups they are part of, they are part of a collective group that is now globally having an emerging identity. They are humans. You are a human right now. You're not just consciousness in a room. You're a human. You have a human role. It's like you're already wearing the armor. Do you know what I'm saying? And you're wearing the armor. You have the sword of intellect and the shield of, observance. So what I'm saying is, it's like this feeling that every human being is like, yo, it's my human species. Do you see? The ego cannot collectivize because then it will not exist, but the ego can claim the collective. That means if like a human being in your proximity, in your awareness fails, makes a mistake, you should be dishonored by the fact that let me tell you, you should feel like as if it's happening to your own family. You see, it's like, you see, human beings are an organism, which means they're a biological system, and they have a sort of certain range of expression. And their expression shifts in accordance to their knowledge. Their behavior, their personality changes based on what they select as the value to their moment. You don't understand. Who you think you are is just where the bird has landed on the branch now. You don't know where life is going to fly you next. You don't know who's coming. You don't know what will happen. And there's a magnificence to that. There's an instant, like, that's the awe. The awe is like, oh my God, in 2025, I can see so many parallel futures to humanity. But the point is, which one of these probabilities, parallel views on life, is going to go forth? And could it be something I haven't even considered? You see, the greater intelligence on this earth, in the simulated testing zone, is fascinated by how there is even a simulated testing zone. The mystery of what's going on surpasses any sort of definition in the world. So the next step in from 2025 to 2025 to the year 2525. Okay, that's too long. Let's make it from 2025 to 2125. So in the next 100 years, what important global psychological revolution needs to take place? And honestly, it's a new group identity with what I call the advanced humanity. I hope, like the world we're living in now, it is one devoid of global honor. It is devoid. It's too, like, how do I say it? And new. It's probably not going to be any of us. Yeah, it's going to be the future generations, 100%. They're just going to be born with a sense of everything is way more important than individual value systems make it out to be. Hey guys, my phone's upside down. Let me see. Somebody says, does recalibration ever stop? Do we get to a level that we can chill and still advance humanity? You see, the whole point of life for an energetic being is to make the most efficient decisions. So we have a sort of energy, and we make decisions, correct? So there's a decision making going on. This decision making is based on a value. Now I'm just saying what's missing is a collective sense of honor. You should be honored by being a human being. You should be honored that you're in a civilization. That honor is missing. The honor for the whole system is missing. Okay? And really, the honest truth to all of it is that it's not 100% in human control. It's kind of like, what can human beings do while they're here? Right? See, it's kind of like holding yourself in such a high regard that anything that is your design is also held in a high regard. Do you know what that means? That means imagine you came up to me right now and you're like, yo man, I'm the most advanced being here on this planet. And I would be like, okay, so because of your format, you're being the most advanced being, right? You're being something in a certain way. Anything that fits that pattern, you should hold in high regard. And any human being that looks in the mirror and sees a human there, you are part of the human species. You should have this, I don't, this is kind of bizarre, but it's like you should love the greatness of your species. And it's not like love like, yo man, I'm gonna hug the trees, you know. It's a type of love where you're like, why isn't it here now? Why isn't it here yet? Why can we in our minds see the more advanced possibility to reality? Why can we see the emergence of a new human ideal? Why we can see all wars being put in cyberspace? You know, world leaders are no longer, like, militaries can exist, but they are never used. It's kind of like style. It's like a fashion sense having a great military, right? But it's never used. Why? Because all wars can happen of world leaders fighting it out in a video game, and the whole world can watch and be entertained by it too, right? Without feeling like we're destroying something important. You see, the nature of humanity is resources. On some level, we need a technological revolution. On another level, we need a revolution of what it means to be human. Guys, it's completely okay to hug trees. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying the relationship you have with your species surpasses you just having feeling about it from one angle. It's about the advancement of the whole thing. It's a wonder. You look at, like, the pyramids of Egypt, you can't figure out how it's made. It's wondrous. You look at 8 billion human beings, you wonder about their most advanced possibility, and you're just awestruck. You're awestruck by what can happen. Do you understand? Like the earth can be, the human beings can outsmart their ignorance. See, guys, I don't know any of you, right? All I know is, let's say poetically, your avatar and manifestation. I see you as a being outside of me, right? And I see you as a being that has a relationship with reality. And if your relationship with reality matches mine, it's like I understand you. I can still understand you outside of myself. Like I do have an ability to, anybody who can laugh at themselves has mastered the ability to perceive value systems outside of their own value system. See, guys, every person on this planet has a role. You look at a bee and you have a certain expectation of its role. You look at a flower, a certain expectation of its role, right? You look at different beings and you get an expectation of, like, their role, right? What does that mean? That means a flower has as much value as a human being. If nature maintains itself. What I'm saying is, like, the bee has as much of an important purpose, designing honey, you know, like the humming of bees, like their wings, actually shapes the hexagonal pattern we see in honeycombs. Nikola Tesla would be proud of bees. But anyways, where I'm going with this is I'm pretty much saying everything in life has its place and position. If you were a tree right now, I wouldn't be like, yo, advanced civilization tree. I'd be like, yo, bless you, just be what you are, right? But when you are a human being with system admin privileges, how intelligent you think you are is based on how you choose yourself to be. right? It's as if, what if right now there is a way more advanced intelligent version of you, and it hasn't been activated because an idea of self has been too comfortable to step out of. Do you understand what I'm telling you guys? I'm saying that who you think you are is at where your attention is. The way your attention can be, and especially by being human, you have a responsibility. Like, I can't expect, like, one squirrel to try to unite all the squirrels, and all of them having a network of communication, like Rick and Morty, right? But human beings can do that. And you as a human being have to be like, what is the most important thing I can do for myself? Okay, go survive. What is the most important thing I can do for my world? I'm a member of the human species. I represent the human species. In Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I created man and jinn kind for the sole purpose of worshipping me. And that man is a vicegerent, an ambassador of the divine attributes. Okay? Do you know what this means? This means that you have an ability that no other species on this planet has, and you want to see if God is real. Look at how bizarre the advancement of the human species has been compared to any other species so far. They're all sleeping. You see, you can right now stop listening to this talk, and go sit in nature, and just try to, like, stabilize as just whatever is your being. You can do that right now. But you gotta consider, whoever you are listening right now, like anybody who's listening to this right now, you have to consider, I'm not talking to just you. I'm talking to how in the future there will come situations that, because it hasn't happened yet, we can't give feedback on, but because in our inner realms we can probabilize and go there, we can. So what I'm doing is trying to solve certain problems for the future generations. And it's not that I know exactly how to solve it. I can just come and talk about the problem until I see the answer. When I say talk about the problem, that means everything can be observed and everything can have infinite sort of meaning. Right now, there could be infinite people hearing me, and there could be infinite versions of me. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? You are convinced by yourself. And that's why you stay where you are. But when you realize there's a greater game to play, it's not about age, culture, or what people say. You don't know how advanced you can be. You don't know in what advanced ways you can understand reality. Intelligence is about understanding. Okay? People who have knowledge, that's data collection. Okay? And it is true, the more data you collect, if you understand the data you collect, you in some sense see different ways reality is happening. I thought that I was someone who had this charisma that, like, millions would listen. I don't, because I am not that kind of being, right? I've realized I'm that kind of being who is setting up. It's like, let me tell you what's going on. It's like a human being was born, a human being wondered about the future, a human being saw different probabilities to the future, saw negative and good, positive outcomes, okay, and suddenly wondered, what do I do with this understanding now, and instantaneously set up his own project in time. So I'll give you an example. It's kind of like, what is the smartest thing that a time traveler can do if they come back from the future to now? Now, I'm not a time traveler, but I'm saying if. A time traveler who would come back now, if they got a phone call from the future, they'd be like, what are you waiting for? Right? Which means that right now we have to, in some sense, initiate the patterns that will grow alongside when the future generations come. Pretty much what I'm doing is talking about what may happen. If it happens, it's going to add some value to when it happens. Plus, we don't want to be embarrassed in front of all time, right? Like if the future was watching us right now, it'd be embarrassing if we didn't try our most advanced. Like right now, I've lived in a way in this life so far that if the future generations were like, hey man, do you think you lived the best life? I'd be like, I lived a life where I had access to the original in a simulation. I don't see anything more advanced than that. Because I'm different in the sense that if somebody says, what do you truly value? What do you truly value here? Is it to, in some sense, be whatever the past has been and to kind of play your part so the past is at least happy, right? And then live it in a way where somehow the future becomes happy? And you just see this point where you're like, what have I been living for? I don't know if anybody has had that, in quotation, spiritual experience of like being like, yo man, whatever the belief is, it's like, what is the value to this force of life that I am? For me, I was having this conversation with my brother and I think it shocked him, right? It shocked him because I told him, it's strange, man. It's like before my greatest value was like starting a family and then starting an advanced research institution, and in some sense building smart cities and all that, which I am actually doing in Dubai. But anyways, you see, the future stands right now. Imagine you're standing somewhere on a mountaintop, on a mighty mountaintop, and suddenly 3 people approach you. And these people are humanoid, but they're shimmering light. Imagine 3 different lights approach you. Or I don't know, let's make it vague so it doesn't break boundaries. Let's say 3 people join you on this mountaintop. You look at the first one and you're like, who are you? And that person says, my name is the past. I know everything that has happened up to this point, but that's all I know. And then you look at the second person in the middle and you're like, who are you? And that person says, my name is the future. Excuse me, I messed that up. Says, my name is the present. The future's my cousin up. The guy in the middle, the second one, I messed that up just to fix it. The middle guy says, I'm the present. I know everything that is happening right now everywhere. And then you looked at the third guy, and you asked him, who are you? And the third guy didn't speak. But the other 2 said, that's the future. His name is the future. Or imagine it spoke. It said, I'm the future. I know everything that will happen. And so it's as if you have access to these 3 beings. And imagine you can only go with one of them. And it's a metaphor for how you as a human being have a certain energy in the day and you choose what you value. You choose, like right now, you have instantaneously an access to the past. You have instantaneously an access of being live streamed in the present. You have instantaneously an access. Now this is where it gets interesting. If you have an instantaneous access to your past and present, why don't you have an instantaneous access to the future? You actually do, but it doesn't mean it's the future because there's a system admin. pretty much saying the future will love the species. Your great grandchildren or whatever. They're gonna be born with this sense of like, yo, are just living as individuals, or is there an ability for a new collective vision of humanity? That means that advanced humanity is beyond dualistic boundaries, meaning that every person you see and you judge, let's say anyone, me, anything, any being you see, you judge. Your judgment is dualistic, but the value to the human being surpasses language, surpasses storytelling. That means it's beautiful. We are designed and positioned here to never truly know one another because it cannot be communicated, the depths of what we are. But it's being here. The future is all the different ways it can be. You can care for your own future. That's like 100 years. Then you care for the future of the species. That's the time limit is unknown. But there is a possibility its if essence will continue. Like, imagine we were born in a world where everybody was a robot and we were having the same discussions we're having now as robots. Like, who created this technology that's being our operating system? Like, if I was a robot in a world of robots, giving a talk, it would be this. So what I'm saying is that we're not robots. We are in a natural universe. We're in a universe where, like, there is a more intimate relationship with the forces of reality. You can step out of your home and feel the sun. You can also wonder about how the future generations will live in that sunlight. And what is the true value? Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying take a moment to just, grab a notebook and a pen, and you're not going to even need it. But just sit down and ask yourself, what is the most advanced way? Like, if the future generations obviously could see in how many different ways I could be advanced. But right now, if I could, your mind can't enter the future and can't enter the past, but in some sense is present, has entrance into the present. So the past and the future are kind of like simulated efforts. The only way to do justice to this video is to actually give an example. I have to do this. This example can sum it up. I'm envisioning a human being 100 years from now. I'm giving myself that challenge. So 100 years from now, okay, let me tell you, the issue with 100 years from now is going to be past the cyborg age. And it's going to be this weird phase 100 years from now where human natural psychology is going to become altered because human attention is going to be in an environment where there's very accurate simulations. So 100 years is too far. It's actually a little bit scary. Let's not go 100 years. Let's go to, it's not scary, it's disturbing. But let's go 50 years. Yeah, 50 years. In 50 years, what probability can happen here? One thing I could say in the next 25 years that could probably happen. 25 is even too long. In the next 10 years, a new value system to the human being is going to emerge. Like the way you know yourself to be a human being now is not the proper coordinated value of it. It's like you are part of something bigger, but that thing that's bigger has not activated yet on Earth. See, guys, right now you're a human being just like anybody else. You're a human. And as a human, you can feel the neutrality before you want something to be in a certain way. From that neutrality, you need to observe the future. Because if you're specific, you land in a specific future. If somebody says, how do you know the future? I'll say, firstly, it's not in my control. The system admin decides. Secondly, it's because I'm looking at the geometry of now and there's an expectation of what will happen to now. So the past watches the present enter the future. And the future watches the past push the present into the future. It's the ideals of man. It's how advanced we choose to be as humans while we're, it's wondering how advanced it will be. Like it's going to get advanced where to the point that human lifespan's going to increase. Human morality may become slightly more savage than it is now, but then it's going to render as too much chaos to be ignorance. Why? Because evil breaks, good creates. It's you're gonna feel like you're a member of the human species, and you're going to feel you're the member of an advanced civilization, and world leaders will slowly wake up from the slumber of individual victory to the realization that nations should um, design themselves in accordance to the greater future where humanity emerges victorious, with a context that we are beings in a universe. We are not just people in a town. We are not just characters in a self-given, self-generated story on Earth. We are in some sense present in the mystery of the grand eventhood of this world. We are attending an important moment, a moment so important it has a value that surpasses worldly value. You understand? There's stuff going on here more important than my voice and anything in this world. I am just a simulated being like, what is the greatest strategy in the simulated? And the two strategies, the first is return to the system admin, access the main operating system, and the second one is in some sense make the simulation easier for those who are going to enter it. You see, all wars need to immediately stop. All leaders of nation need to gather around and not leave a UN meeting for as long as it takes to emerge with a new idea of a global humanity. You see, it's about just the realization of what we can achieve if we choose to care for the future compared to if we don't. That means fundamentally, this is the question in my heart. As a human being on Earth, do I want to see the most advanced expression of humanity, of everything? Or do I want to just stand here and wait for the future to pass the moment by? You see, that's incredible. It's like we are honored and dishonored by our decisions. and our decisions are contexted in accordance to a certain value, so it's as if our decision gives us a value. You have to ask yourself, what is the most advanced human being? Like, how would the most advanced version of you behave? And you got to realize you don't know it, so you require to engage with the higher power. That means it's like as simple as just praying to be the most advanced expression of yourself as you're here. The reason I say the future is scary is because it may shift from being human. I have faith in the system, admin, but I also have faith in my species that the species will get bored of civilization 1.0. You will get bored of how you're being a human right now, and you will be fascinated by what kind of human beings, advanced human beings, will walk this earth. That means I want you to go think about your relationship with the knowledge of your world, your relationship with your awareness of what's happening in the world and what you truly understand. How much have you cared about the deeper questions of what's going on? You see, leadership to me, there's different kinds of leadership. But there's only one leadership that matters, the leadership that realizes what's important and doesn't care whether it can do it or not. It must, the importance of the action, it doesn't matter what you think of it anymore. It's like there's an important game happening here, right? Something important is happening here as human beings are constantly living. And there's a notion of the status quo, meaning that the average human being is afraid to differ from the system that they have been conditioned in. Why do you think we have racism? It's a scared human being that doesn't know how to process something different than to itself. Thinks that it has to render it a specific value. You don't know the value of anybody because there's so many ways to see people. So the species has been playing a sort of simulated theatrical game, right? And it's a necessary game. That means, like, yes, okay, I'm from Canada, you're from the States, okay, you're from Iran, you're from Dubai, whatever. It's about the new human ideal, like just like how doctors, they need to, like, complete an oath to become certified doctors, right? The doctor's oath or whatever, right? So similarly, there's going to be like the human oath, right? That if you are a member of civilization, you hold civilization in high regard. Now, when you hold it in high regard, it ultimately means you care for every person, right? This is even deeper than a care for like siblings, right? It's like you care for every human outcome, because in order for you to be an advanced self in an advanced world, there needs to be an advanced power and there needs to be an advanced ability of the human being. So for me, what I was missing when I was talking about advanced civilizations was I was not acknowledging the higher power. Now when I give these talks, I am acknowledging the higher power. That means it's like there's a way more advanced being than me moving the moment. But how can I pilot how I'm moving in the moment? I don't know why. Maybe it's from the shows I saw as a kid, but some part of me had this like subconscious feeling that advanced human like research stations need to be occurring everywhere on the planet, super advanced, right? That an extraterrestrial landed on Earth and it's like, who are you? Human beings will be like, go to an advanced research station. I like, for me, my like a sort of advanced humanity would be a humanity that has realized it can advance the ways it's looking at itself. An example of the future would be that you wake up and every day you have this sphere hovering, like imagine all your technology is like this golf-sized sphere, and this sphere follows you and hovers in the air and follows you wherever you go, right? And it can project holograms, and it's the most advanced technology. And every day you wake up, because we don't want human beings to suffer in let's say like how there's hikikomori in Japan. Like 1 in 3 Japanese men is like dying alone without talking to anybody. Like it's like savage, right? So we have to kind of consider that human beings require human interaction, right? And what human interaction is a generative ability activity of the mind. So what it means is everybody in the future will have a Saya, a super AI assistant, okay? And what happens is pretty much like Jarvis from Tony Stark, from like Iron Man, right? And so every day you're gonna have your own Jarvis, and you're gonna have a status in accordance to how you are a legitimate member of your civilization. You get a certificate by being born as human, not your birth certificate, that you are a member of the advanced humanity, right? And massive archival systems of humans documenting is going to begin in a way that it's going to advance us, not limit us. See, the point of human life is that people are like, privacy, privacy, privacy. Sure, but you're also a temporary being. You're here for 100 years. And so what is the value of the human effort? The value of the human effort is to, in some sense, align with the main operating system, the original operating system. The original operating system is not aligning to society. You just have to understand how the game is played, and then it becomes easier. Or those people who walk on busy sidewalks, you just have to, just like driving, look ahead. Anybody who walks on a sidewalk, busy sidewalk, and they stumble and hit people, you're not ready to drive a car. You're not ready to drive a vehicle. The only time you are, for example, is when you can see ahead and coordinate. You see, even when it comes to driving, everybody is following, yielding to the law. Now, what humanity needs is everybody yielding to the most advanced human effort. And even the whole point is, yo man, what about corruption? That the only thing means that we have to patiently and wisely decide. That means it's like you gather all the world leaders of humanity in one room, and you're like, hey, what do you think a human being is? In honor of our species. That means it's kind of like before the person leaves this world, it's like in their last moment, they just to themselves, they're asking like, did I do all I can for myself? Did I do all I can for those around me I cared for? Did I do all I can for the species that I belong to? Did I do all I can for the world that was here and all the beings in it? Did I do all I can for my cosmos, for my universe? And then ultimately, did I do all I can for the system admin? You know, for me, it's kind of like, okay, there's going to be a review. Do you know what that means? That means everything you have done on this planet so far has been logged. And why would you log something if you don't need the info? So divine surveillance suggests divine review. You know, we have to care for everybody's outcome. Like, that's the superior human game. You are so advanced that you're wondering about the advancement of your species. That's the fast. That's why I am in awe of the future. So this is one man's awe of the future. It's incredible because of all the advanced probabilities that can happen in accordance to the will of the system admin and the users in the system. God bless mankind. God bless the greatness of our legacy in this world, and also our return to the system admin. A'udhu billah shaitan rajim. May God protect us from evil. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. There's a power here that all creation by design has bowed to. And Rabb ighfirli. May God forgive us for the mistakes we know and we don't, because we are not perfect beings and we stand in the presence of the divine. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. May God guide us to the direct path. May God guide the species and every being in this realm to the direct path. This doesn't mean the direct path is just the realization that God is beyond the world. So you are worshiping that which is beyond anything in the world. That is the relationship. And it doesn't mean great beings did not walk this earth. Some of the most advanced beings, peace be upon all the prophets, walk this earth. I'm just saying it's the relationship with the higher power, by realizing the higher power cannot be defined by the lower power. Anyways, thank you for listening. Rabbi Friedrich.